Guess I am. Interesting. Speaking of that lawyer, she seems to have a great dislike for you. Oof. Let's see, Miss Yu is the victim, or sister of the victim of the KG-8 incident. And as I recall, Detective Bad was the lead detective on the case. I wonder if the reason for her disdain isn't simply because you failed to guard Cece, but because you were the lead detective on the case. You knew? I also know that today's trial involving the Cadopian Embassy staff member is being referred to as the second KG-8 incident. Now then, Detective, I believe it's time you were honest with me and told me the truth behind your relationship with Miss Yu and Mr. Faraday, and the KG-8 incident. If you already know that much, I guess it'd be alright to tell you. Okay, the KG-8 incident. Now then, I'd like to ask you a few questions about the KG-8 incident. It's not exactly a happy story, other than the people who were directly involved. You two will be the first to hear what I'm about to tell. Oh, that's a lollipop. The honest truth behind the KG-8 incident. I honestly thought it was a toothpick. Faraday, you, and I. As you already know, we three were involved with the KG-8 incident. Faraday and I. We were originally on the trail of a smuggling ring. You mean the smuggling case involving one of the Amano Group's secretaries? That trail was just a front. Facade? Yeah, but the case became tainted. All because the witness who was going to testify about the Amano Group's ties to the smuggling ring, CCU, was killed. And what became of the secretary who was arrested? His name was Colin Deveray. To be honest, the guy didn't know a thing about the smuggling ring. But he confessed to knowing about it anyway. Deveray was probably being intimidated by the Big Boss Man. Big Boss Man. God, I speak so weirdly sometimes. By the Big Boss Man. Just another scapegoat. The boss man of the Amano Group? You can't seriously mean Mr. Ernest Amano. That can't be right. It's probably just Detective Bad's personal hypothesis. What is he trying to do, suspecting Mr. Amano of being involved with smuggling? I suppose it would have been quite difficult to secure an acquittal after he confessed. But the man who killed CCU, Manny Kojin, was a completely different person. But since he's already been acquitted once for her murder, Mr. Faraday, how could you have let him go? If I remember correctly, I heard that Mr. Faraday had an important piece of evidence stolen from him. That wasn't Faraday's fault. It was mine. I wasn't vigilant enough. Faraday, Cece, I was supposed to protect them both. Miss Yu did mention that as well, about how Detective Bad was supposed to guard her sister. But even I, who was supposed to protect them, I fell into their trap. What kind of a trap? The holes in this jacket are a testament to that trap. You mean, you were fired upon? You were shot at that many times in one gunfight? No. Only about half of these are from that case. But the reason I continue to wear this jacket is to remind myself of the lessons I learned from the KG-8 incident. I see. I couldn't protect CCU, and the suspect was found not guilty. We had hit a brick wall, as far as the law was concerned. And that's when she came to the courtroom, the victim's sister. That's when I first met Callisto Yu. In relation to you? About when you first met Miss Yu. It was on the day the verdict of the KG-8 incident was handed down, was it not? Yes, Faraday and I. We apologized to her from the bottom of our hearts. It was all we could do, but just saying you're sorry won't bring my sister back, she said. And then she gave me a hard slap across the face. Well, she certainly had a lot of self-control to stop at just a slap. If it was me, not even 100 lashes would have been punishment enough. I suppose not. You said it herself. That she never wanted to see either of us ever again. But after that, you've seen her many times over, correct? Yeah, Faraday and I, even after the KGA incident, had come to a close. We continued to hunt down the smuggling ring and got involved in a variety of cases. But it was no use. We cracked so many different cases. But the result was always the same. We couldn't find the real mastermind behind the ring. Is the ring really that big? It was in the pursuit of the ring that we met you once again. It was during another trial related to the smuggling ring. Faraday was the prosecutor, and I, as the lead detective, took to the witness stand. She appeared out of the blue as the defense attorney. Our client was related to the smuggling ring, and she was defending them? Yeah. You was pursuing the ring as best she could as a lawyer. I think she defended Rel this time for the same reason. Come to think of it, Miss Yu did say something to the same effect. Yeah, that she has her own agenda. Yeah, I have my own agenda. I'm still on the hunt for leads regarding the KGA incident, alright? And for that, you have not a single qualm about defending a known killer. Don't put words in my mouth, I said no such thing. The only way I had to get close to Mr. Rel was to be his lawyer. I had no intention of covering for him. Ever. So don't you dare suggest I was going to. It doesn't matter what her reason is. Helping a criminal is just despicable. You're so naive, little girl. I could have stolen this lollipop from you, that's how naive you are. How dare you insult the daughter of a Von Karma? Just like us, you felt that she had hit the limit of what the law could do. That's all. The law is merely a tool. There is no limit to it, only the skill of the craftsman. You two are still too young, but one day, you'll know what I mean. But enough sidetracking. What matters is that we met you again, in pursuit of the smuggling ring. That's all. Okay, we still have relation to Faraday. So what was your relation to Mr. Faraday? You even seem to know Kay fairly well. I met him when he was a rookie prosecutor. Known him ever since. And Kay, I've known her since the day she was born. Faraday and I, we cracked quite a few cases together. But you two seem to have made no progress at all in the Yatagarasu case. Did we touch a nerve? I only have one thing to say to you. No one knew more about the Yatagarasu than me and Faraday. That's why I was called upon to testify in today's trial. To prove that Rel was not the real Yatagarasu. Which I would have done if he hadn't turned around and accused Faraday. After the accusation, I was asked to testify, but this time, to prove or disprove the accusation. But I guess I won't be doing that either. I sense that there's more to that statement that meets the eye. Perhaps a bit more digging into the Yatagarasu is what's necessary. Yeah! You claim to know much about the Yatagarasu. Would you care to share what you know with me? What you two should be looking for right now is proof of murderous intent towards Faraday and Rel. I agree, which is exactly why I'm asking you about the Yatagarasu. What? The KGA incident and this second KGA incident. Both of these cases are tied to the smuggling ring. And in both of these cases, the witness who was to testify about the ring was murdered. However, there is one point in which they differ. And that is the presence of, or absence of, the great thief Yatagarasu. Mr. Rel claimed to be the Yatagarasu, however, in the middle of the trial, he suddenly declared Mr. Faraday to be the real Yatagarasu. Then, during the recess, they were both killed. Don't you find that to be the least bit odd? Miles Edgeworth, stop beating around the bush and just spit it out already. I believe that there must be some reason that the two men suspected of being the Yatagarasu were both killed at the same time. A reason? Huh. And so in order to catch Mr. Faraday and Mr. Faraday's and Mr. Rel's cold-blooded killer, I feel that I need to learn as much as I can about the Yatagarasu. If it will help you solve this case. Then I'll tell you. I'll tell you the reason why we've never caught the Yatagarasu. What was that sudden outburst for? It almost made me whip you by accident. She'll whip Edgeworth. Knew it. It still accidentally whipped me anyway. There are 3 main reasons why the Yatagarasu will always be one step ahead. First, the Yatagarasu always knows the exact location of the target object. Second, the Yatagarasu always knows how to disarm, or exactly how to disarm the security system. Third, the Yatagarasu doesn't leave a single shred of evidence behind, ever. I see. So those are the Yatagarasu's special traits. Sounds like an incredibly elusive thief. The Yatagarasu has never been caught on tape, never tries to draw anyone's attention. Would never do something as lowbrow as commit murder. That's how I knew that Rel wasn't the real Yatagarasu right away. But you can't use that sort of logic on its own to prove that he wasn't. Listen, little girl, I'm not done talking yet. What's different about this time was that evidence related to the smuggling ring was sent to the police. And the sender was none other than the one who infiltrated the Kodopian embassy, the Yatagarasu. The Yatagarasu sent the evidence. Until now, the Yatagarasu would always publicise any corrupt dealings through the mass media. But not this time. The evidence this time was something only Faraday and I, and a select few others, knew about. In that case, how can you be so sure that it was the Yatagarasu who sent it? That's easy. A special card that only the Yatagarasu uses was attached. That's how I can be so sure. And just what sort of card is it? Here, take a look at this article. It's that one there. Whenever the Yatagarasu wants to publicise something, a white card is sent along with the stolen information. But when we questioned Rel about what was sent along with the white card, Rel had no idea what it was. Ah, and that's how Detective Bad knew that Mr. Rel was a phony. Thank you very much. I have a much better understanding of the Yatagarasu now. Bailiff? Excuse me, Mr. Edgeworth. Yes? His Honour would like to transfer the evidence from today's trial over to you. So if you would please head over to the courtroom, it would be much appreciated, sir. Understood. I'll be there shortly. Detective Bad, what does the law mean to you? Finding the answer to that question is the only reason I'm still alive. I became a prosecutor to find the answer to that question myself, and to play a part in ensuring that all criminals everywhere are found guilty. See, that he's very narrow-minded in his objective. It's literally, I need to find criminals guilty. It's not the fact of, I need to find the truth, which is what it changed to after he had, gone against Phoenix Wright a few times. Actually, it was after Case 4 with, Von Karma. That's when he chose death. Oh, it's you, Mr. Edgeworth. It appears that His Honour is still a bit de-spirited. For the first time today, I experienced what it's like to stand at the witness stand. I now have a greater appreciation for just how hard it is to give testimony. Well, there's no reason for you to be all dressed about it, Your Honour. As a judge, no one expects you to think anything other than the verdict. Francesca, there is no need to further depress His Honour. I'm not trying to, Miles. Your Honour. I've come to collect the evidence that was to be transferred to me. Your Honour, the evidence. Your Honour. Oh. You. Yes, can I help you? I'd like to collect the evidence now, sir. Your Honour. Do you think you can stay focused long enough to at least do your job? Yes, I'm sorry. And I would expect that the defense attorney has yet to arrive. Not accept, not expect. She's busy with the investigation, so let's keep this brief, shall we? Very well. In that case, please confirm that all the pieces of the evidence are present. Furthermore, the evidence that was used in the murders of Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rel are also included, so please go ahead and use them in your investigation into their case. Understood, Your Honor. So the pieces of evidence that were used in the murder of these or those two men. This could be a very good chance for me to find new leads regarding their case. And maybe even something that will finally lead me to the truth. I've placed all of the evidence over at the prosecutor's bench for you. Okay. I see. Thank you very much. I'll go and confirm that they are all accounted for. So this is the evidence related to today's Cadopian Embassy trial from Mr. Faraday's bag. You mean the evidence bag that was on the table in lobby number 2, right? Yes, finally we can now take a look at the evidence itself, and not just data around them, or about them. Let's be sure to thoroughly examine them while we have the time. Agreed. I want to take a good look at all of the evidence from the Embassy Murder 2. And why is that? Because I still don't fully understand what today's trial was about. Don't point your crap at me just because you don't know something. Don't you try to order me around just because Papa chose you today. See, someone is still sore about not being picked by Mr. Von Karma. Oh, bloody hell, we have a few things. It's also real to see the knife close up. So we have the knife, the gun, an envelope, and what's this organizer doing here? Oh, that's right, I completely forgot to tell you. About what, Your Honor? They found Mr. Faraday's personal organizer inside that evidence bag of his. Detective Baird requested it be passed along to you. He said it would help the investigation. Detective Baird said that? What a strange stroke of luck. Well, never look a gift horse in the mouth. We might as well flip through it too. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious looking nook and cranny. Blah blah blah. Mr. Faraday's organizer. It appears he was in the habit of using it. It looks like he wrote his strategy for getting Mr. Rell convicted down in here. Ooh. I've collected the evidence I need to prove that Rell was the killer. Between the handgun Rell had on him when he was arrested and the surveillance tape, I should be able to prove that he was the one. It appears that Mr. Faraday honestly believed that Mr. Rell was the killer in the case. The sound of his handgun going off was recorded with superb clarity on the surveillance video. I also have evidence that I can use to prove that Rell is not the real Yatagarasu. And it would also appear that he had proof that Mr. Rell was not the Yatagarashu. No matter how he may try to play it, as long as I have the Yatagarasu's key, I can prove he's a phony. If I present it to him in court, it should clear everything up. And he apparently also had a very definitive piece of evidence. It's been a long battle. I hope that this will finally bring it to an end. Yes, I believe that Mr. Faraday was well prepared to discredit any claim Mr. Rell may have had about being the real Yatagarasu. And he had a way to prove that Mr. Rell was the guilty party in the embassy murder. This organizer is a clue straight from Mr. Faraday. I'll have to take my time and give it a thorough read later. I've already read it. So there we go, that's the organizer. Look, there's a picture stuck inside the pages. Oh, these pages here. The fuck? It appears to be a key. And a rather ornate one at that. Just look at the design on the handle. The craftsmanship is superb. Could this be the Yatagarasu's key Mr. Faraday mentioned in his organizer? The Yatagarasu's key? Detective Bad said something earlier. What's different about this time was that evidence related to the smuggling ring was sent to the police. And the sender was none other than the one who infiltrated the Cadopian embassy. The Yatagarasu. The Yatagarasu sent the evidence? Until now, the Yatagarasu would always publicise any corrupt dealings through the mass media. But not this time. The evidence this time was something only Faraday and I, and a select few others, knew about. Mr. Faraday must have been trying to keep the secret key safe. As a prosecutor on both the Yatagarasu and smuggling ring cases, that's to be expected. Ah. So we have a knife. It's the knife that was used to kill Mr. Faraday. Who would have thought that such a beautiful piece of art could be used for such a cruel act? and it's never crossed your mind that you use your riding crop for the wrong purpose. That's odd. What is it? Mr. Faraday didn't mention anything about a knife in his organizer. That certainly is odd. The weapon that was used to kill the Cadopian embassy staff member was the gun. But if that's the case, then where did the knife that was used to murder Mr. Faraday come from? Isn't it obvious? It was brought into the courtroom by Mr. Rell, or courthouse. That's the only logical conclusion, right? No, because it's not that easy to smuggle a weapon in like that in here. Every person who enters the courthouse doors is checked thoroughly for contraband. Furthermore, the suspect was handcuffed, making it impossible for him to bring a knife as large as this inside. In that case, how do you suppose this knife ended up in the courthouse? I need to think carefully here. There is nothing related to the knife written anywhere in Mr. Faraday's organizer. However, it is a fact that this knife came from Mr. Faraday's evidence bag. Conversely, there is one item listed in Mr. Faraday's organizer that no one has claimed to have seen today. So in order to solve this mystery, I believe I will need to take another good look at the evidence. Miles Edgeworth, can I take the fact that you have yet to answer me to mean that you don't have an answer for me? Actually, I do know the answer. Francisca? What? Then what is it? One of the pieces of evidence we've been holding has been hiding a secret of its own. And it was through this piece of evidence that the knife was brought into the courthouse. I'm assuming he's on about the key. It's one of those keys that change. It changes. I mean, if I have a look at the knife, does that not have any, like, weird ridges? Oh, really? Yeah, the Yatagarasu's key. This Yatagarasu's key Mr. Faraday mentions in his organizer. This is how the knife was brought into the courthouse. You're not making any sense, Miles Edgeworth. You just need to look a bit closer, Francisca, to see what I mean. Don't the colour and ornamentation of the key's handle remind you of anything? They do remind me of the knife. Very good. Both the Yatagarasu's key in this photo and the murderer's knife have this very unique design on their handles. Furthermore, even though Mr. Faraday mentions the Yatagarasu's key, he does not mention the knife. The only object we found at the crime scene was the knife. You don't seriously mean to say they are one and the same? It appears that you finally caught up. And yes, I do mean to say that these two pieces are in fact one and the same. But that's impossible! Even if that is what you believe, we should still investigate this possibility. Now let us examine the knife in a little more detail. Ah, here we go. Oh my god, it looks so weird. I don't remember how I do any of this. Oh, there we go, with the R. There it is! Oh! Oh my god, I never even thought that the reason it's... Oh my god, that's so cool. No, that the reason it's ridged on this side is because it was flat on the other. That's clever. It also explains why you couldn't have examined the knife prior, because it would have revealed that it's a key. I can't believe it turned into a key. To think there was such a trick to this thing. So the weapon used to kill Mr. Faraday is actually the key the Yatagarasu stole. This piece of information is more critical than anything we've learned up until now. Nice. Frankly, I'm shocked. Mr. Faraday only mentioned the key aspects of this piece of evidence in his organizer. It's possible that even he had no idea the key was hiding a knife blade inside. But if that's true, then only someone who knew about the key to knife trick could have killed Mr. Faraday. Even among law enforcement, this key was top secret. we're looking for someone who knew even more about the key than even Mr. Faraday. Meaning that the only person it could be is the one who sent the key in the first place. The great thief Yatagarasu. Then maybe Mr. L really was the Yatagarasu. And he was the one who killed Mr. Faraday. Isn't that one possible scenario? No, not really, especially since Mr. Faraday was absolutely convinced that Mr. L was not the Yatagarasu. Besides, Detective Bad said earlier. Yeah, but when we questioned Rel about what was sent along with the white card, he knew nothing about it. Rel had no idea what it was. I see, alright then. I guess the person who knows the trick behind this key is someone else, and that person is the real Yatagarasu. It seems that this key is truly the key to solving this case. Oh boy. Right, so the knife was also updated. Very good. Pardon me. Alright, so examine the document. Let's take a quick look through these documents before the trial started. Well, I wasn't even afforded the opportunity to skim it. I suppose I should explain it to you then. Yes, you should. Perfectly, and in its entirety, if you please. On the night of September 8th, an embassy staff member was killed in front of the embassy. The staff member died of shock due to being shot in the heart. Mackerel was brought in that night as a suspect and thoroughly questioned, because the murder weapon was found on him, for which he was arrested on the spot. A simpleton of a man, that's what he was. Perhaps he was, for the weapon wasn't the only incriminating evidence we had. Mr. Earl was caught in the act of on film by a security camera. He was an even bigger simpleton than I'd thought. I can't believe he didn't notice a security camera. The Cadopian Embassy's security system is supposedly very well designed. He may have simply not been aware that there was a camera in the area. So, have you seen the contents of the video for yourself? Yes, the surveillance video the security camera took was played during the trial by Mr. Faraday. You can clearly identify Mr. Roll on it, even the sound of the gunshot was crystal clear. So the footage included sound, huh? I don't think I'd ever want to see the moment of someone's death in real life. Me either. And then we have the gun. This gun, it was originally used to kill the Cadopian Embassy staff member. When the crime was reported, the responding police found Mr. L still holding it, which led to his immediate arrest. And then, this gun took the original shooter's life. How ironic. Indeed. There doesn't seem to be anything else we can learn from this piece of evidence. That's odd. We're short one piece of evidence. And the piece that's missing is the surveillance video that was played in court. The surveillance video? How could a piece of evidence just disappear? Oops, I didn't get to read the rest. The video showing the moment in which Mr. Roll committed the murder. Where could it have gone, indeed? Are you done with your inspection of the evidence? Yes, I'm finished. However, Your Honour, I am missing a single piece of prosecutorial evidence. Your Honour, were you derelict in your duties? What? No, I dare not lick my duties. What do you take me for? No, Your Honour, the most important piece of evidence in today's trial. The surveillance video is not amongst the evidence you laid out for me. But I brought Mr. Faraday's whole bag with me from the crime scene. Maybe the tape is still somewhere at the crime scene. There's something wrong here. Something about this missing piece of evidence. It would appear that for me to find the answers I seek, I will have to pay another visit to the scene of the crime. Defendant lobby number 2. Is that who I think it is? That's Detective Bad. But who's he with? I've never seen that officer before. Oh, it is him. Okay, so did you find it? No, not yet. I've looked everywhere. I see. Well then, please continue with the search. Understood. I'll continue the search. So you're the one running this show. Prosecutors like you shouldn't even be allowed at crime scenes. How dare you? Just who do you think you are? I can't remember his name. What was that all about? And who was that man just now? Whoever he was, I've never seen a more impudent officer in my life. Does he even know that we're standing right behind him? I know you're standing right behind me. What do you want, kids? Looks like you were paying attention after all. Of course I was. I have eyes in the back of my head. And so that mirror isn't for vanity's sake. It's for him to keep an eye out on who or what is behind him at all times. So tell me, Detective Bird, who was that rude man just now? The guy came here from the Republic of Zengfar to study. Agent Lang, that's it.